Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Supernatural episode 1510 titled The Hero's Journey, which premiered Thursday, January 23rd, 2020 on the CW. I'm recording on January 24th, so it's just under 24 hours since the episode aired. Also, January 24th, as Supernatural fans know, is Dean Winchester's birthday. I believe it's also Jessica Moore's birthday. Um, so I actually didn't plan to delay my recording. It just so happened this way. So that's a fun thing right there. But huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'll try to do this in 15 minutes, so I'll start the clock. Let's begin with what happened in this episode. First off, I'm a little disappointed that this episode wasn't at all birthday related for Dean, because I don't think we actually had the brothers celebrate a birthday before, like in an episode. Yes, their birthdays have been referenced a few times, like, or what they have actually done before in the past for their birthday, but I'm still waiting for them to actually see us, or for us to actually see them celebrate each other's birthdays. So missed opportunity there, I thought. So that's one there. Otherwise, timeline wise, it's not really specific as to how long it's been since the previous episode. I'm assuming it's not long after the events of 1509, just because where they seem to be, it could be just like the very day after, or it could be long enough for them to like settle down. I'm assuming it's maybe like a few days after the events of their 1509 with their encounter with Chuck. But yeah, I will touch upon it a little bit later in tidbits as to why I think that. I don't want to spoil anything at the moment. But moving on to episode reminder, I think the fact that we get Sam and Dean dealing with normal people problems instead of kind of being protected from it because they're the heroes of the story, as Garth points out, also a reminder of the fact that Garth is in this episode, but he points out as to what the difference might be, the fact that especially when he finds out about Chuck being a writer, how like as heroes of the story, they're always immune to all of the normal people problems that come about it, or it's never really focused. So in this case, the brothers never had to deal with it. So that's something there. So moving on to the episode breakdown or the storylines, I guess it's two different storylines. The first one being focused on the normal people problems that this Winchesters have to deal with or come to deal with, and the second one is the Monster Fight Club. So first storyline, it happens throughout the episode. It's not like one specific like storyline, but it's a series of events that they attribute to the fact that, well, now we're normal people now. So with Dean, we find that he deals with the fact that Charlie's unhackable credit card gets declined. Now we find out very quickly that this is a card that Charlie gave them so that they would stop doing cons or having to struggle to find money and stuff. And it's been working for them for the past 5 years, which adds up to Charlie dying in season 10. And then it just suddenly just stops working. We see the Impala breaking down repeatedly. We find out that Dean has 17 cavities, which adds up to the fact that he's never been to the dentist, but now he's feeling the pain of it all. We see all of his punches not really working. He gets kicked in the gonads, and he suffers from it, as he should. So there's that. We find him breaking a nail when trying to pick a lock, and he fails to pick a lock. And then we find out that he is lactose intolerant after eating, 7 grilled cheese sandwiches. And I figured that that was going to be the case because they emphasized the fact that he ate 7 of them. And I am lactose intolerant myself. So the moment they said that, I was like, oh no, that's going to be issues. And then to find out that Dean did have issues with it, I was like, I feel that. Maybe not as extremely as he does it, but then again, I know when not to eat so much dairy products than what Dean went through just now. So that was just something like, yes, finally something to show that stupid intolerance kicking in. So there's that. Now with Sam, though, we've had him being clumsy, almost tripping, dropping plates, burning his hands, and then dropping the pasta, him actually getting sick, him not being able to handle a health remedy drink that has cayenne pepper in it. Naturally so, I can't deal with spices either. But for him to have it to the extreme that he did before when they've had to consume some awful things in the past was just something right there. He also can't pick a lock as well. And he misses his own punches, or he misses to land those punches, I guess you could say. So they are just dealing with to them, it's like a really bad day. But to all of us, it seems like normal people problems. So That's something there. But it's something that keeps popping up in the episode in itself. So it's not like it's one event after another that kind of ties in like a regular story structure or storyline structure. It's like those little nuances that add on to their bad day type of thing. Second storyline, though, deals with the Monster Fight Club. Now, this is where we get Garth and his family coming in because his brother-in-law, who is a werewolf, comes home after being attacked by a wraith. And they find out that there's this Monster Fight Club going on that all monsters go to get quick cash. It's televised on the dark net. And Sam and Dean tried to go and stop it, and yet because they are normal people trying to be hunters, they start questioning themselves. But Garth comes in to save the day as the werewolf hunter, and he lets them C4 help him out. So that's something there. Last scene of the episode shows Sam and Dean on their way from leaving Garth's place, deciding that they're going to go to Alaska to try to get their hero luck back after getting a tip from Garth about a possibility of that happening. So that's their next go-to plan there. Tidbit-wise, though, as I mentioned, this ties in with the timeline because they do mention that Castiel is said to be in heaven checking in with the angels about Chuck's whereabouts. So it definitely has to be long enough from 1509 to allow for Castiel to be gone. Whether or not he takes a few days and then takes off, or if he takes off immediately after the events of 1509, we're not sure. But that is kind of why I think a little bit of it attributes to the timeline. But there's that. Also, Garth's brother-in-law, Brad, which is Brad, the pure blood werewolf cousin of Bess, or I guess not brother-in-law, cousin-in-law, I guess. He's a familiar face. He played the demon soldier of Abaddon's army in episode 902. Plus, he was also on Dark Angel with Jensen back in season 2, episode 8, I believe, as the merman transgenic in that episode. So that's another familiar face moment there for me. And then also with Garth, we did find out that after he became a werewolf, he went back to school to finish his dentistry license, and then he started up his own practice. And he mainly covers the dental hygiene of the werewolves since they can't go to regular dentists. And then he has his regular practice to humans as well too. We also find out that he has 3 kids, a little girl named Gertie, and then the 2 twin baby boys named Sam and Castiel. So that was a little something there. Yeah, he only had the 1 kid last year when we saw him in 1409. So now they just had the twin babies, boys, so that's something there. Now, moving on to end tally or death tally, there is Maul, who was killed by Garth by a hatchet to the head when he was saving Sam and Dean. And then there's just a whole mix of monsters that were taking part in the Monster Fight Club when they got killed or assumed to be killed due to Garth's C4 explosions. So that is something there. So Garth just kicked ass in this episode for sure. He Garthed all of them, as he would say. So that's something there. But moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I think the shock was just how unlucky Sam and Dean were in this episode. Like, you get it to the point, like, it's just more of like the fact that it was, for them, it was unlucky. I just thought they still dealt with all those issues. Just we didn't see them because they were too mundane to draw attention for us to see. So I just assumed that they still had those issues. To find out that no, that's like these normal people problems never actually happened to them, that was the shock for me too. And then just to the extent of how unlucky they were from it was also the surprise as well too. But moving on to familiar faces, it's pretty much all of Garth's family. Garth, his wife Bess, and then introducing Gertie and the twins as well. I'm a little surprised that I was expecting the twins to be named Sam and Dean when he revealed that the first baby was named Sam. I was hoping for that, but then to find out that it's not baby Dean but baby Castiel, that was a surprise to me because I thought Dean was Garth's favorite. Dean and Garth have like a special connection. They met first. They got to be partners first. So I thought if anyone was going to have a baby named after him, it would be Dean. And to find out that no, that's not the case, that surprised me because I'm pretty sure in 1409, that was the first time that Garth and Castiel actually shared a scene together. So I'm a little surprised with that, and I'm a little offended on Dean's behalf a little bit. But just in general, the fact that Garth named the twins after his buddies, that was just so sweet to begin with. And then to have Sam and Dean hold the twins as well too, and then make a comment about it, that was pretty cool as well too. Hold on. Sorry. And then that was something there. But let's move on to top 3 favorite moments very quickly. First off, I love that we got to see Garth again. I love that he survived the episode, first off, as well. I'm always afraid now with the final season that, like, if they bring a new one back, I'm afraid that they're coming to have their death shown on screen for us, and I don't want that at all. So I'm glad Garth survived. But I'm also just glad that he still got to be the hero. I mean, he said specifically in this episode he's fine being a supporting character. He even said it in regards to, like, Chuck's view of the world as he's the writer of all their stories. And then he says, like, I'm glad to be a supporting character or even a recurring character because that means I'm not the hero and, like, nothing befalls him that are stereotypical for the hero. But I love that he still got to be the hero in this episode, and the fact that even though he's a werewolf, he still is able to do the hunting thing. Granted, he maybe shouldn't because he has a family now, but, like, to see that he still has it, with, like, has the success rate, I should say, was something right there. And he's just still Garth too. Like, he's a family man, he's a werewolf, he's a hunter, yet he still has his, like, he's still Garth. Like, you know, like, I still feel him, like, we met him in 708. I still feel him after 8 years later. Like, you know what I mean? So that's something there. Another favorite I did have was Dean's speech to Sam when they were locked in the cages, just about to, they're supposed to be fighting in the monster fight. His speech about how, like, Chuck didn't give them their skills. They honed their skills, and the best fighters, they could do this. Like, that whole speech, granted, I had some doubt that maybe, like, it would backfire on them. But to see that, like, to see the determination to continue fighting, to prove that they aren't just the product of Chuck's creation type of thing, to prove that everything that they went through and everything they sacrificed and had to endure actually meant something and actually allotted to something in regards to a skill. I did appreciate that speech. It kind of sucks that, like, when they actually were up against Maul, that they failed, essentially. Like, they weren't successful at all in that fight. So it just kind of sucks, because then now it just has a question. I'll get onto it later though. But I did like the speech, so I'll leave it at that. And then another favorite I did have was just seeing Sam and Dean be normal. Yes, they hated the fact that it was, like, bad luck for them, especially, but just to see them dealing with normal things was just interesting to see. It's just like, because normally we wouldn't get to see that stuff. We wouldn't normally see characters making dinner. We wouldn't unless there was, because, as you know, there's no point seeing something on screen unless there's no conflict that is going to happen, or, like, there isn't some kind of, like, tension that's happening. So if you're going to watch them make dinner and nothing's happening while they make dinner, what's the point of showing it, right? Hang on. It's just interruptions right now. I'm sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just seeing them be normal, because then, like, sometimes if there's no conflict in a situation, why show it on screen, even though us as viewers still want to see the simplest things just to further round out the character. So in this instance, even though Sam and Dean think this is bad luck, I still like that we got to see it. We got to see how they react. They think it's bad though, but I like to see them in the situations just to get, like, more of a rounded feel of how would they deal in the situations that we would normally deal with every day. Like, you know, minus the hunting part, but, like, you get what I mean, hopefully. But anyways, let's move on to the top 3 peeve moments. I was kind of alluding to this just a moment ago, but a peeve I did have was the implication that the skills that the brothers have acquired over the years was all because of Chuck. So, like, this was mainly in behind, like, their fighting skill, their ability to pick a lock, and, like, their ability to go in guns blazing, come out successful. I didn't like the fact that it was being implied that they were only successful because Chuck had given them their heroes versions of those skills. I would have liked to believe that it's been over 40 years that they've been hunting, and they've just gotten better over the years with all the experience they've acquired. That has allowed them to be as successful as they have become. But then to have the implication that no, they can't pick a lock, no, they can't really fight monsters, and they're pretty much inadequate against one werewolf with the two of them, it just seems like in this fight it made it realistic. In fact, like, no, werewolves have they're stronger, they're faster. How could a human go up against them and win in a straight brute force type of a thing? And it kind of showed when it was Maul against the Winchesters. But then to imply that everything they ever worked for is all because Chuck allowed it to happen, it was something I didn't like, because then it kind of discredits everything they've done for the last 40 years of their life. It's like, so everything they endured, all the experience they gained, it was all just for nothing, because it was all part of Chuck's plan. It's like the only reason why you're able to pick a lock is because Chuck wanted you to pick a lock. The only reason why you're able to fight so well in hand-to-hand combat is because Chuck wanted you to do that. The only reason why you're the best hunters in the world is because Chuck wanted you to have it. As opposed to the idea of like, no, we became the best hunters in the world because we've earned that from the experience we've had. We've earned that from the sacrifices we've done. We've earned that from all the big bads that we've had to deal with. So I just didn't like the implication that everything they've done was kind of for naught because Chuck made it like irrelevant. You know what I mean? And there's the timer. And that is that. But moving on to random questions very quickly. First one, is Garth still altered from the Apocalypse Michael's Grace experiment that he performed in his last episode appearance in episode 1409? Is he still affected by that, or any of the monsters that were affected by that still affected by that? Or is that more of like while he was alive then it was an issue, but now that he's not, like their powers are back to being what they were beforehand? I don't know. But we do see the twin kids have their werewolf eyes, so we do know that the genes got passed on for sure. Another question was, did anybody wish that Sam and Dean could still fight despite their unlucky streak after Dean's speech, just to prove that they still had those fighting skills, to prove that Chuck it wasn't just Chuck's doing that made them good, but it was because of all the experience that they've dealt with. Like, I really wanted it so that despite all the bad luck they were having, they could still be the best hunters out there. They still had the reputation they had because they had the experience, but then Chuck just kind of got rid of it all during their actual fight between Maul and them. So who else was hoping for a different outcome? Or who else was expecting them to fail in that fight and for Garth to kind of come in and save the day? So that's something there. Next question was, will they ever bring it to attention the fact that there are supposedly less than 15 angels on this earth? Because, like, what was it? It was last season, right? Yeah, last season towards the very end, Duma made it like she was very focused on finding a way to create new angels because there are so few of them. So they haven't really touched upon heaven. This is actually the first time I think that they've mentioned heaven in checking with the angels. So I'm wondering if they're ever going to bring up the fact that like they are so few in numbers now. Because that was one of the issues, the fact that if there's no more angels, there's nothing powering heaven, and that could that could unlock all the doors to heaven and have all the souls fall out of it back to earth, which would be disastrous, if I remember correctly. So I'm wondering if they're ever going to touch upon that again. So that's something there. I already mentioned my last question with the baby names, so I'll leave it at that. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 1511, it looks like we're going to see a magical pool hall where Sam and Dean bet on their lives just so that they get their hero luck back. This is kind of reminding me of the magic poker game that we got in season 5 when Bobby tried to bet his lives away just so he can regain his legs, and we ended up getting a 70-year-old Dean. I think it was 507 we got that episode in, but the whole setup of the promo had me thinking of that episode, so that's something there. Based off the synopsis, though, it reads that tagline, gotta know when to fold 'em, and it reads, Sam and Dean press their luck in a winner-takes-all game of pool. Meanwhile, Castiel hunts down a would-be murderer, but not for reasons one might think. Oh, that's new. I didn't even read that when I cut and paste the synopsis to my document. That's something there. Huh. I wonder if it's because of something he learned from heaven and that's why he's tracking down this would-be murderer, or is it a human would-be murderer? Is it almost like a monster thing or something? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. But otherwise, that is pretty much it, guys. What did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopsis, news, all that good stuff, all fun in one place. Go check that out. A little more organized, a little more detail. Still a work in progress once again. And behind because of school. Just finished week 3 today. So there's that. Also, live journal entry link is down below. I post jot noted versions of the episode, kind of like my versions of the transcript. It's I read them while I watched the episode for the first time, so it's a little more detailed in certain aspects. It has the quotes in there and stuff. It could just be jumbled words, but they're all posted. I've been doing it since season 6. If you want to go check those out before the actual transcripts finally make it to the internet. But for the newest ones, they aren't posted yet as of this recording, just because I've written them. I just got to format and color them properly, and that takes some time. So that's on the list of need to updates. So that is something there if you want to check out. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. I'm pretty sure this is the next episode before we get that month-long break, before we start in the new time slot on Monday nights. So check back next episode to see if that's the case or not. But otherwise, guys, that's what it. So again, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Bye for now.